If you need any My Team grinds in any mode, hit up my boy Witty for safe, reliable, and the cheapest grinding services around. Hit him up on Twitter. You won't be disappointed. Yo, what is good, YouTube, and welcome back to another JC2K video. In today's video, we're ranking the best centers in NBA 2K25 MyTEAM here on this tier list. Before we hop into the video, if you haven't already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Help me push towards the 40,000 subscriber mark on the channel. I upload every single day. Tons of consistent daily MyTEAM content. Would really appreciate it if y'all do subscribe. With that being said, without further ado, we got about 26, I think, of the best centers in MyTEAM to rank on this list. Start off with Shaquille O'Neal, who I think goes A tier. He is very big, 7'1", big, wide, bulky player build, very strong, dominant on the inside, incredible speed, some of the best stats and badges of any center in the game, maybe the best outside of the three-point shooting, but the three-point shooting is the flaw. Low three-ball rating and a bad jump shot holds the card back. I do not think he is S tier, and I will not be changing my mind about that. Not a total atrocity, but I do think he's A tier. Dikembe Mutombo is not incredibly fast and can't shoot the three, really. I think on a list where most of these guys can at this point shoot the ball at a pretty high level, it's one of the most valuable skill sets a center needs to have at this point in the year. Dikembe Mutombo does not really have that. That puts him down in the D tier because he really can't shoot at all. Dirk Nowitzki, I'm going to go B tier with. He's 7'1" and he's got much better defense and much better finishing than his pink diamond did. At the same time, jumper's not great. It takes away a little bit of what he's supposed to be best at, which is that pick and pop ability. Post is overrated anyway, so he's got a 99 post rate, but it doesn't really matter because it doesn't do anything. And defensively, he'll be a little bit soft on the rebounding, all that type of stuff. Not a liability, but I think B tier is probably the right spot for him. Joel Embiid, legitimately good, smooth jumper, great defender, good size, good player build, everything you want center position. Legitimately a very solid card, definitely usable, definitely A tier. And same thing honestly with Hakeem Olajuwon. A tier, 7 foot, 7'1", big player build, bulky, gonna be switchable and versatile defensively, got decent athletic ability and a smooth enough jumper overall. Another very solid card. Tim Duncan, his biggest flaw is that he's only 6'11". That would be the biggest flaw, but I would rather have him than Shaq at center, and I'm not kidding. Jumper's much better. He's absolutely dominant on the inside. He's got like almost 90 speed as well, which is really good for a Tim Duncan card. Legitimately elite. He might be the best power forward in the game. He's not the best center in the game, but he's still very good. I got no issues at all with him in A tier. Another guy in A tier, I feel like we've had, I think that's 4 in a row, but Greg Oden. I mean, I love the jump shot and I love the player build as well. I really think he's as good, if not better, than guys like Hakeem and Embiid. Right up there at the top of, well, not at the top of A tier, but right up there fairly in A tier, I think. I got no issues whatsoever with him in that A tier spot. Yao Ming is 7'6", but he is 59 speed and he can't really shoot. I think I had him in B the last time I did this tier list. I did decide to move him down A tier this time just because you are still so limited. Unless you full-heartedly mash and try to play in the post with him every single play, he does become a little bit of a liability on the court in a lot of ways. So I think C tier is the right spot for him as of right now. Dwight, if Dwight was bigger, I'd have him B tier. A tier, but as is, I just don't think he is because he's only 6'10", and honestly, I just think the jumper could also be a little better. If you're looking for things to criticize, Dwight has a decent amount of those. Not a bad card by any means, but I think B tier is probably the right fair spot for him. Shaquille O'Neal is going to go D tier. I'm not a fan. Obviously his dark matter is really good, but the pink diamond cannot shoot at all, and it's just in general not as good of a dark card as the dark matter, not to mention the fact that he can't shoot at all. So that's an easy D tier. That one's kind of a no-brainer. I think Wemby's S tier. I think he's the best card in the game still, probably to this day. Card's been out for a long time and he's still the best in the game at his position. Excuse me, realistically, Wemby will probably be the best center until we get another Wemby, or like a super souped Yao Ming or something along those lines, which could also happen. But either way, as of right now, Wemby's the best center in the game, and I think there's a no-brainer that he's an S tier. I think Patrick Ewing's release is so atrocious that he is actually C tier. It is. I just cannot stand his jumper. I think it's really bad. I will say we're coming up on a lot of more mediocre cards though as we progress through this list, so I think I might be tripping a little bit. I'm gonna go low B for Ewing. I'm not a huge fan, but he's not completely atrocious. Clint Capella's undersized and cannot shoot. That is a no-go in a couple different ways. I think that one's an easy D tier. KP is an obvious S tier, probably the second best center in the game after Wemby. He's just an incredible shooter with a lot of size, decent athletic ability, very underrated defender, just overall super solid card. Another S tier back to back is going to be David Robinson, who I think is the third best center in the game. But if you want to argue him over KP, you could. He's fast, he's a great dunker, great finisher all the way around. I like the jumper. Defensively, he's elite, just really good card. Jokic can shoot a bit, but he's not super fast. Defensively, he's not elite. His cards in my team never really give justice to the guy that he is in real life. He's the best player in the world in real life. In my team, his cards generally aren't very good, but this one is not either, so he's going C tier. Artis Gilmore is like a 60-something speed and can't shoot the three ball. That is an absolute no-go. It was a no-go when the card came out a month ago. not a month ago, like 3 months ago. It's obviously a no-go now. So yeah, that card is a absolutely not. Wilt Chamberlain. I think I gotta go Wilt and A, but honestly, like I'm not that high on Wilt. Like I think I'd rather have Tim Duncan than Wilt right now, to be honest, because the thing about Wilt, jumper's ugly. Yes, he's dominant in terms of length, physicality, rebounding, defense, stuff like that. The jumper's ugly, and that matters. It does. Now, I still think he's A tier, still think he's a very good card, but kind of like Shaq, jumper matters, and he does not really have it. Big Z, that I got to move a couple guys into S tier, don't I? I'm moving Tim Duncan at S tier. I think he's that good. And I'm going to move Big Z into S tier as well. I get the Big Z is 69 speed. His jumper is awesome. His player build is massive. This might be a very unpopular opinion, putting Big Z in the S tier, but I think his size, especially matching up against Wemby and KP, where he won't be nearly as much of a size disadvantage. He's a really good card, and a card you should absolutely keep in mind if you want to center in my team, despite the low speed, because his jumper's cash. He feels a little faster than you'd expect at his size with his player build. Overall, solid card. Kevin McHale, honestly, just kind of flawed. Jumper isn't great. Not an elite slasher or playmaker or anything like that. Just I'm kind of there. He was never great, and I think C tier is probably fair for him. Alonzo Mourning, I wish he was a little taller, and I wish his jumper was a little better. If it was, he could easily be A tier, as is, though. I gotta go B. Jumper's not good enough, and he's not tall enough either. Karl-Anthony Towns has like 80 speed, and he's not a dominant defender either. Honestly, this card is not that much better than his Pro Pass Diamond. I think that's an easy C tier for that one. Rudy Gobert's D tier. That card is trash, can't shoot, no speed. Card is terrible. I will put Kareem right next to Wilt in the A tier, just because I think A tier is probably the fairest spot for guys like Shaq, Kareem, and Wilt, who all have bad jumpers, but are so dominant at everything else and so physically imposing as well that they both deserve to be on the list. So I think all three of those guys can go in the A tier. And then you got Brad Miller. I'm gonna go C tier. Jumper could be a little better. He does have decent stats and good badges, but I don't love the card. At this point, I think I would absolutely take everybody in B tier, and it's not even close. And then finally, we have Brook Lopez. By the way, I'm going to move Yao back up into B tier because I think he's better than all these guys in C tier. But Lopez is a fine card, besides the fact that he's got like 69 speed, and unlike Big Z, he's not 7'3", he's 7 foot, feels a little slower. And Lopez's jumper is ugly. So I think C tier is fair. I think I'd keep him out of the D tier, but I do not think he's very good. So overall, pretty balanced tier list today. I got to say, it started off unbalanced, but it wound up being a pretty good one. And I hope y'all did enjoy the video. I enjoy bringing y'all these tier lists. I'll get a bunch of other random tier lists out over the next week or so. Or we'll be right back into the tier list rankings for starting a point guard position here in just a couple weeks. So I hope y'all have been enjoying the tier list, trying to get these pushed out to y'all with consistency. Let me know in the comment section down below which centers y'all are using right now, because I'd love to hear y'all's thoughts on the center position. And if you did enjoy the video, make sure you hit that like button, leave a comment, and subscribe. I'll be back with more 2K content very, very soon, and I appreciate y'all. Peace.